Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Motion Live. Hey, I'm Morris Lilienthal. Something that I've learned over the last 10 or 15 years in my professional career that truly carried over my personal career too, is that for me to grow as a person, for me to grow as professionally, that when I surround myself with people who are thought-provoking leaders in their industry, leaders in business, leaders in the community, that I grow as a person, that I grow as a professional. It has allowed me to really get ideas. It has allowed me to be more creative. It has allowed me to network and grow with other people. I tell people all the time, hey, don't be the smartest person in the room. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room. Fortunately, I don't have a problem with that. But that's one of those things I tell you, surround yourself with other great thought-provoking leaders. So a lot of you that are watching today may have heard of a TED Talk. And that's a talk that's often given by a very successful, well-known either person in business or politics or even a celebrity that talks about, in a very short duration of a speech, why they're successful or a certain bullet point or something that they want to focus on. Dude, that movement, the success of TED Talks has actually moved into the local areas and into local cities. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking with local TEDx organizers, Geoffrey Middleton and Nathan Klose. And Nathan, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, I apologize. But we're going to be talking with Geoffrey and Nate today about the local TEDx Voyagerway organization that they started. We're going to be talking about what that is and why they started it and how that movement is growing here in the Huntsville community and how TEDx is growing across the country. Guys, thank you so much for taking time from your busy work schedules to be with me.
Oh, it's our absolute pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us.
Well, it's really cool because, I had the privilege of going to I think maybe in your inaugural event, and I was so moved and struck by the speakers and the people that were there that I really wanted to get you on the show and talk to you about this movement. And before we kind of kick it off, guys, if you're watching live, everybody, please, if you got questions about TEDx, if you've got questions about any of the speakers that these guys have had, are there any upcoming events, or if you've got ideas for upcoming events, I'm sure they'd love to hear them. Let us know, and if you're just watching and you want to say hello, just give us a shout out. We'll be glad to say hello to you. And then if you're watching the recorded version, a lot of people end up watching the recorded version. We'll monitor the feed afterwards, the comments, and we'll go back and try to address any questions. So feel free, if you're watching the recorded version, to give us your feedback and questions there. But guys, I guess the best place to start, kind of thinking about the show today was, a lot of people maybe have heard of TED, but kind of tell us what your understanding and what your impetus and thoughts is behind, how TED itself, the big group, got started.
Sure, absolutely. TED started off as a small nonprofit that now is a global nonprofit. If you go to our Facebook page, we actually just posted a map of what they call their TED universe. And that universe is lots of organizations under the TED banner. But the entire TED banner is actually very simple. They can be nailed down into 4 basic concepts that are all really one idea, which is spread ideas worth spreading. Their mission statement is spread ideas. Their driving question is, I think, how can we best spread ideas? Mm-hmm. And their agenda is, let's make great ideas popular.
Yeah, and not just ideas that you would maybe see in academia or from somewhere in front of behind a podium, right? Ideas come from anywhere. So this provides a forum, a stage for anyone, someone from an impoverished neighborhood, someone who lives in a trailer who's a crackpot physicist, anyone who has a crazy idea, good idea, an idea that's worth spreading. It doesn't matter their background, and it kind of levels the playing field and allows any ideas to be spread.
Absolutely. And it's a fascinating thing because the most popular version of spreading ideas on the TED platform is their TED Talks. That's how everyone knows of them. And a lot of those talks, if not all, I believe, are posted on YouTube so that people can see them. And what's amazing is that TED, this global platform, has one annual event, that is the TED event. But then you have people like us, local organizers, that are called TEDxers. We're a TEDx Voyagerway, which says we're not part of Big TED, but we represent their brand on the local level. And what's amazing, though, is that you have TED Talks on the TED stage. The biggest TED Talk in the world has garnered over 52 million views on YouTube. Wow. The largest TEDx talk has garnered over 39 million views. So, I mean, if your idea is worth spreading, it's going to get out there under the TED banner, no matter if it's at the TEDx like us or on the TED Global stage.
Yeah, and you never know. I mean, people, that's the thing, is it's somebody that maybe on the global stage, at some point they had to start on the smaller stage, right?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
if you're Bill Gates, there was no TEDx when he started out. And the
Right.
ideas and the concepts that he had as a young Bill Gates couldn't spread the way they could spread now. And so I think that the local platform provides the opportunity for people and their concepts and their ideas, as you said, from of any background, to come forward and allow that to spread out and to be shared with others, and to, depending on what it is, to catch wildfire and to give them an opportunity to grow that idea.
Absolutely.
Real quick, I want to say hello to Jim Hacking, Nick Grishwang, Destiny Wood, Dusty Ezel. Thank you guys for joining us. This is a really cool concept. So do I gather then that basically that TEDx is just the kind of the regional or local version of TED, that the idea of spreading ideas is kind of the same, that the concept is the same, but it just allows it to be more localized and to filter down to local communities like a Huntsville or Nashville or somewhere like that.
Yeah, so the TED Global stage isn't going to come to every city in the world, but they allow this program named TEDx so that people like us can apply for a license, and we go through a rigorous red tape process that I'm not joking is rigorous. It was a pain to get through. But once you get through it, it's a blast to start putting on these events. And as a TEDx organization, we have multiple events that we're allowed to put on. We have an annual license to throw one big event, which you came to our inaugural event. We thank you for coming to that. We're going to have speakers lined up for either a couple sessions where you have multiple speakers over a few hours maybe.
Salon sessions. Mm-hmm.
It can be a whole day. It can be 2 to 3 days. It can be up to a week. So there's really no limit as to what your big event for the year can be and how many speakers you can have. And so, our big ambition is to grow into a conference that's an annual conference that can have multiple days to it and 10 to 12 to 20 speakers that are all spreading ideas that are passionate to them. And then, of course, we have our smaller events that Nate just mentioned, our salon events, which are going to be, just a couple people wanting to give their ideas for 30 minutes. And they're going to get up there, and we'll have 50 people to 100 people just enjoying the concepts and the spreading of those very specific ideas.
Okay. Well, that's cool, man. And I'm really looking forward to it, and looking forward to kind of finding out more about, telling the audience about some of the events that you've had and some of the events that you got coming up. Talk to me real quick about, what was the motivation? I mean, what inspired you? And I know there were some other organizers that worked to get this thing off the ground, but talk to our audience a little bit about what motivated each of you to want to start a TEDx here in Huntsville.
That's a great question. So I was involved in another TEDx in Augusta, Georgia. I was a speaker there, volunteered a lot of my time. They grew from a very small entity that met in a rented out room in the local library to a 2-day conference. And I was involved with them in a number of ways up until I moved to Alabama. When I moved to Huntsville a few years ago, I met Geoffrey, I met our other core organizer, Jennifer, and it was clear that we had an opportunity to create a TEDx license that was not so bannered as to be like a large Huntsville TEDx license, but maybe a more specific TEDx license. So Voyagerway was born out of not only kind of bumping into each other, but also a desire to help some of the social Venn diagrams that tend to silo off in a city that's established itself over a number of years, to kind of cross those Venn diagrams into each other a little bit further. Find some intersections between science and art and tech and you name it, right? Philosophy. That was one of the major motivators for me. And having a lot of experience with TEDx licenses, I also wanted to be involved at a very base and foundational level to help kind of bring this along based on my own knowledge, my own experience with a lot of this. So it was a really good opportunity for me in that regard.
I would actually agree with that. My involvement in the Huntsville community revolves around one basic concept. I want to get people in the room that wouldn't normally be together in a social environment that they can talk and spread, different concepts from across the realm. And so our first event that you went to is a great example of that, because we mixed two concepts of, what do you do when you have a scientific element and then you have artistic element. For that particular TEDx event, we did music. And so we had people like Gregory from the Huntsville Symphony Orchestra coming in and talking about how you have all this modern technology in the world trying to create the perfect music. And how does that technology actually affect the art of music and live presentation of that music? And then you have Tripper, an amazing guy from Nashville, who came down and talked about the Nashville number system, the scientific elements that allows them to get in there and, really produce this high level music so quickly. And then how does that affect the art of the industry? And why is that exciting for him as someone who's been doing it for 10, 20, 30 years? So, that's our goal moving forward. Let's keep crossing those two or multiple different areas.
Well, that's such a cool concept. And it's funny because it's not something that's really original, but it is original. And what I mean by that is, you think about that a lot of times, we learn from things here. NASA is a perfect example. A lot of times we'll see things that we have in everyday, use that maybe started 25 years ago as a concept for NASA. And it was born into maybe a scientific use, but they're not even thinking of it in a regular personal use or home use. But then it kind of bores. The idea kind of comes out of that. But for folks, if you're not really that familiar with the Huntsville market here, our area, we have a very diverse culture here. We have more engineers per capita than any city in the country. We have a lot of defense industry people here with our military base, Redstone Arsenal. We have NASA here. But then it's still Alabama, so we have a lot of agriculture and other things that are traditional older type resources here. But then we have a lot of cultural things like a lot of the cultural museums and music and things here. So it's a really big melting pot. And so trying to mix these communities that you might at first not think would go together, as we said earlier, sharing those ideas, how can you take something from one to the other to grow something even bigger and exponentially? Got a quick question here, guys, from Jim Hacking, a friend of mine in St. Louis. Jim was wondering, how do you screen presenters for ideas for the event? If you've got events that are coming up, how do you find potential, presenters and screen those guys or gals?
That's a great question. And I'm only going to touch it very briefly and then let Nate talk about it, because we have multiple teams that go beyond just me and Nate here. And we have a whole team dedicated to speakers. So either we find the speaker and reach out to them, and then we vet them through our process of inviting them in, Skyping with them, discussing, the next event we have, whether they be a fit for it. And then at the same time, we have people reach out to us all the time. And we do the same process. We pass them through the speaker team, and let them vet them. And you want to talk more about the vetting process?
Sure, absolutely. So, an idea is a great idea, but not everybody knows how to present an idea well. Sure. And part of the job of the speaker curation teams is to help flesh out those ideas to be more adequate for presentation purposes. So there are weeks in advance, months in advance of Skype sessions, all leading up to possibly one or more rehearsal sessions on the stage to get people acclimated to presenting their idea in such a way that a wide audience can get it. One of the things that I think is paramount to ensuring that every TEDx or TED Talk goes well is having a speaker coach and act as an audience and encourage and tug out some of the idea a little bit more from a personal level rather than just an intellectual level. One of the benefits of TEDx licenses and TED Talks is that when you watch them, you feel a connection to the person on the stage.
Absolutely.
TED Talks and TEDx Talks do not have podiums. There are no podiums. You'll notice there's usually maybe a red dot on the ground, and that's it. And that's to put down a nice level playing field for everyone. So you don't feel as though you're being orated to. There's no tutelage under which you're studying. This is not a student and teacher relationship. It's a person describing an idea. And so a lot of the speaker process, curation process, and training process that goes into the people who come in really helps pull out kind of their inner relatability, more so than their inner presenter.
And I'll add to that. TED and TEDx, they have a very uniform way of having talks given. So you're going to be, like you said, on the stage with red dot, not only that, but they try and keep every talk to 18 minutes. They try and keep it to that range of, you're not going to be in a lecture at some college going for 30 minutes to an hour wondering, is this over yet? you can guarantee the talk's going to be succinct. It's going to be personal, and it's going to be a great idea that you're going to want to hear. And you're going to want to hear more when it's over because you're going to be so excited about it.
Right.
I'll tell you my experience, which was my first experience, and it was a great experience. It was a very intimate in the sense that there was you had a great showing. There's a lot of people there, but I felt like I connected with the presenters. We were right there, and it was interactive in the sense that and different. With the orchestra and the conductor, he was interacting with us and talking, and then having the little mini orchestra play some of the people from his orchestra play and kind of show you what he was talking about, so you could kind of hear it and feel it. And then with Tripper, he actually interacted and brought somebody up there with him and did, and then we kind of got feedback from the crowd as he was talking and then playing on the guitar and doing. So I really felt like I connected. As you said, there was no podium, there was nothing obtrusive that blocked me, that kind of separated me from the presenter. But even more so because of the way the presenters worked and did, at least at that event, I really felt connected with them, which really, added to my experience as a viewer at the event. I guess, guys, just kind of curious, and I think people maybe would want to know this, but how'd you come up with the name Voyager Way?
Again, we're back to that. TED has a lot of red tape on what you can do and what you can't do and how you name things. And they try and get you, as a TEDx person who is local and regional based, to find something in your community that represents that culture, but is also a physical landmark. And so the Rocket City, we scoured the city for cool names on streets and on parks and on any kind of landmark the city may have, thinking, does that really represent what we want to be and what we want to do? And then Nate and all of his genius for our marketing and what we do as a brand was like, Voyager Way, man. And I'll let him talk about why he chose it.
Well, full transparency, the reason I chose it is because we went through a couple of different series of offerings to the larger TED, and they said, no, we don't like those. And so, they wanted it to be like, we picked out a park name, we picked out a road name, and they were like, ah. And so one of the things that I ended up realizing is because we are a very space-heavy city, we've got a lot of interesting road names like Voyager Way or, Constellation Drive or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So we offered them up something that no matter what they picked, they're going to pick a good one. Because we picked, like 3 top-tier ones. And our top-tier one was Voyager Way. And so Voyager Way it was. And I really liked Voyager Way because one of the things that the Voyager probe did is they had that big golden record on there, right? And it was kind of this long-distance shot at hoping to connect with something out there. And I loved the metaphorical and metaphysical nature of wanting to reach out and connect with something very specific outside of yourself. And that's basically what a lot of our license boils down to, is not necessarily a wide banner, but shoot off hard and try and find that connection.
I love that. That ties into your mission, ties into the region. I think it's a perfect dovetail fit. I think you guys did an awesome job of nailing that down, and it's probably glad now that you were sent back to the drawing board a couple of times to do that. Basically, rather than being TEDx Von Braun or whatever the stereotypical thing might be, right? So, and I think there's a team in Madison, the baseball team, that probably desperately needs your help, Nate, because the choices that I saw for the new minor league baseball team coming to the North Alabama names were
I'm
pretty
all for
bad.
the trash pandas. I am all for the trash pandas.
I love trash pandas.
Well, there might be some great hats or T-shirts or something. But as we kind of, what I'd like to do is kind of give everybody a little flavor. We've talked a little bit about your initial event. Talk to us a little bit about any other events that you've had, so people can kind of get an idea of the kind of events that you're putting on, so that if they want to get involved with what they might be coming to see.
Sure. So there are 3 types of events we'll host. One of them is going to be a live stream of one of the TED Global conferences, TED itself, but then TED has a branch called TED Women's, and that's a great conference that goes on every year. And local groups will stream it so that you can get together and have that, social local connection that are all trying to have that experience with the big TED Global ideas. The other type of event we'll have, like we said earlier, is a salon event. We actually just had one of those. And I'll let Nate go into that more. So for that event, we had a panel of speakers, give up and talk with basically an arbitrator, someone who's going to be the mediator for the crowd and say, here's some ideas, let's talk about them. And then we had our main event that you went to, which we are actually trying to expand for next year. I think for your event, we had between 100 and 150 people with 2 speakers. Next year, we're aiming for 500 to 1,000 people in audience, and we're aiming for 6 to 7 speakers. So we're really trying to ramp it up to a full day. And for that Talking Blockchain one, for the salon events, like I said, I'll let Nate talk on that a little bit.
Yeah, our salon events are great opportunities for people in a small format space to get together and have a much more intimate experience with our TEDx license. So most recently, we had one on Talking Blockchain. We got together people in the industry who could explain what blockchain technology is, could talk about cryptocurrency, but not just cryptocurrency. They could also talk about the digital ledger technology that goes along with cryptocurrency and kind of break down some of the mythos that we hear about in the news of what that means and point to maybe some of the future things that we could be doing with technology like that. Our next upcoming salon is going to be a completely different topic, as well as our next main event. So we get to kind of like curate some topical events, regardless of whether it's a salon or a stream that we choose from the global sense to play and invite people to, or the large TEDx Voyagerway event like the one that you went to.
And you'll see with the salon event, you're going to see one particular topic really harnessed in, really focused in on, and you're only going to get that one subject. But with our main events, our annual one-year event, it's always going to be a mix of different things. You may get up there and hear someone talk about trees, and the next guy who gets up may talk about blockchain and Bitcoin. And it's just going to be a smattering of different concepts and ideas, because that's the goal. You're going to get a lot of different people interested in a bunch of different things talking to a large group.
Yeah. Often there's a theme. So when I did my TEDx talk in Augusta, the theme was autonomy. So like it was a lot of different fields, psychology, jazz musicianship. We had a barber up there, right? I talked about being kid-minded. And it was all kind of tied in, looped in with autonomy. So, you know, there's some focus, but certainly get as many people up there.
Well, just to reset it real quick, everybody, thank you for watching the Mo Show Live. I'm here. Our guests today are Geoffrey Middleton and Nathan Klose, the two of the organizers for TEDx Voyagerway here in North Alabama, in the Huntsville area. And we're talking about what TEDx is, a little bit about, TEDx Voyagerway, their local chapter here that they've got set up and what they've got going on and how they're looking to grow and intersperse different communities here in the Huntsville area to grow and foster new ideas. So guys, I'm just curious real quick as we wrap up, we talked a little bit about how you vet the speakers, but how are you coming up with these topics? How do you decide, there's so much to choose from. Is this something that you guys just kind of round table and then kind of niche down? Or are there certain things that TED has parameters on or makes suggestions about?
Yeah, so that's actually the fun part for our team. We get together and literally we round table it in a big group discussion. And to answer your question, TED does have some parameters. They don't want, political ideology espoused. They don't want a candidate up there pushing their own agenda. They don't want someone pushing their own company in the sense they want to get sales for something. They want to be pure ideas. You can bring it from the standpoint of a company or from a political dogma, but you can't be selling something. You can't be pushing some final result. It has to be the idea in its purest form. And so that frees us up from having to think about, who are we going to get that's going to have the most pull in the community. Instead, we just think of what would be the coolest idea to see someone talk about on stage in front of an audience that Huntsville will bring to the table. And a lot of times we'll try and find those concepts that Huntsville is used to, and then we'll have a lot of fun finding topics Huntsville's not used to and try and figure out how we can mix them all together and have a fun event.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, that goes right back into the kind of your rationale and your mission statement, I guess, of what you want to do with the event, which is to bring different cultures and diversities together to foster new ideas and to build on other ideas from a different perspective. Absolutely. And that's what's so cool about our community is because we are such a diverse community of different people from all over the country and the world. I mean, folks, I can tell you that I think they have 30 to 40 languages spoke in the Madison City schools where my wife teaches. That's just how diverse it is here. So you're bringing that many people from all over the world together here in our little bitty rocket city and doing. So guys, if people want to come to an event, what can they do to if they want to chime in for the next big event next year? How do people get involved with your organization?
You can swing there are two mainstays. Our Facebook page, which is TedXVoyagerWay, is going to be a great way to keep it up to speed with what we've got going on, as well as our website, where you can see past speakers, have access to tickets directly when we've got events going on, as well as kind of send us a message with some ideas that you might like to see happen on stage. So.
Yeah. We have a newsletter that goes out for anyone who wants to be included on events immediately when they come to fruition and what we have going on. And if they want to be included in that newsletter, all they have to do is direct message us on Facebook or find one of our emails on the website and email us, and we'll get them plugged in.
Yeah, so what I'll do, folks, for those that are tuning in, I will go in the comments below the video here. I'll put a link to the Facebook page for TEDx Voyagerway, and I'll also put a link for the website. And Geoffrey, if there's a place that links straight to the email list, I'll add that as a separate comment as well, so people can get in touch with you guys really easy. I really appreciate what you're doing. I think it's a really cool concept, and I think it's great for our community to bring people together of all cultures and backgrounds and to foster these ideas. And I really, it was tongue in cheek at the beginning, but I have found it in my professional and personal life that when I surround myself with people with great ideas and that are different than me, I grow and I learn from people. And I've been in several mastermind groups in the last couple of years that have from people from all over the country and all over the world. I'm learning from these people, and it's because they're fostering great ideas. And you guys are just doing that right here at home. And I'm so grateful that you're doing that. And I look forward to watching your community blast off and take off. Sorry for the pun, but I really appreciate it, guys, and thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate everybody tuning in. And if you like the concept, if you want to watch TEDx Voyagerway grow, please like and share this video so we can help spread the message. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.